Okay, I am recording. Awesome
Yay.
sauce. So, hi everyone. Welcome. My name is Lynette Davis with A&D Media, and you are watching a very special episode of Marketing Superheroines and Superheroes Unite.
What?
I call it very super special. Well, I didn't say all that, but we're going to roll with it. Super special episode because this is the first time I am doing this show via Blab. And the reason why is because, well, we are blabbing about Blab, so it made sense to blab this web show today. Typically, I do it on I'm very loyal to my Google Hangouts, but I came out of my comfort zone today because I got a cathartic shove to come out of my comfort zone by my very special guest, who I am going to introduce right now. So welcome, Coach Jennie.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Awesome sauce. So tell me about yourself and how you serve the world with your unique superpowers, your USP.
I like USP with powers in there. That's yummy. So I am Coach Jennie, the Audacity Coach. And what I do is I help people who are on the brink of something spectacular. You know, they just know that they're meant to do something epic, something yummy, and they don't know how to get there. They can see it, they can smell it, but they can't put their finger on where to start or how to make it happen. So I help them find the how through what you call a cathartic shove, right? That's the word. So I am not the fluffy, gentle, sweet, encouraging coach type of person, like a lot of coaches. I'm in your face, in your space, and pretty raw. So that is what my unique superpower is the cathartic shove.
Awesome. So what I like to do is kind of open up some dialogue and talk about some common obstacles that come up for those who leverage social media superpowers as a part of their marketing strategy and their overall unleashing of their USPs. And today, the main social media superpower that I wanted to kind of talk about was Blab. I myself am very new to Blab. And so I'm learning as we're talking about this. So tell me, what's your understanding about this platform in particular?
I'm obsessed with this platform. I have been since I joined the darn thing. If you click on somebody's name, you can see how long they've been there, right? I've been on Blab 44 days. You've been on there 22 days, so you're halfway there. And what I love about Blab is it takes what we love about Google Plus Hangouts and attaches Twitter, but then adds these wonderful props that you see kind of popping up here. Thank you for that. It's this wonderful place to dialogue with people. But what's different from Google Plus Hangouts is, one, there's not 10 people. There's 4 on camera at a time. And I used to think, oh, that's such a limitation. But the truth is, a really great conversation is kind of maxed out at 4. If you're watching and listening to a conversation of 10 people, it's a lot. And you can see there'll be 2 or 3 people talking and 7 or 8 people going like this on camera on a Google Plus Hangout. There's none of that with Blab, right? We're all in it. The other thing that's different is on Google Plus Hangouts, you're inviting the people you already know, right?
Yeah.
Here, definitely. You can see we've got some people over here in what I call the cheap seats. We got Becky, Sean, Paul. They have joined us.
Yes, welcome.
These are people that are popping by because this is live. This is open to the world. And that's really a beautiful thing. And there's no barrier to entry aside of putting in your Twitter credentials. And even that's optional. You can totally lurk. So that's the thing. I mean, Blab is just fantastic. I have met so many amazing people this way. I'm kind of a big fan girl.
Awesome. So here's the big question for me. I am a jump into it kind of girl, if you don't mind.
Bring it. Ask away.
So Periscope and Blab came out almost around the same exact time. And I know a lot of people were telling you about Periscope and telling you how awesome it is and Coach Jennie, you need to join. This is the platform for the coaches and the speakers and the authors. And you were like, we'll see. But when Blab came out, you were like, I'm on that.
So good. Yes, I tried out Periscope and Blab the same day. So I had kind of come out of my summer. And when my summer was ending and I was ready to get back to business full time, all I heard about was Periscope. And I thought, okay, this is cool. And I looked at it. I was watching them. I didn't really enjoy watching Periscopes. Like, I wanted to, but the truth was, it felt like I was listening to a bunch of auctioneers, because of the way the little comments float by. People would be talking like, oh, hi, Sean. Oh, it's good to see you. So as I was saying, oh, hey, Lynette, what's going on? And it was overwhelming and not a whole lot of fun. Plus it was on your phone and I couldn't get into it, but I said, I will try it because everybody's telling me I will. So I, set up my tripod, and it was like an event. I hosted one, a lot of people came, but I was talking to the magic mirror. A couple hours later, literally a couple hours later, I had been invited to a Blab with a colleague of mine, Erin Smith. And she said, come to Blab. I'm like, what the hell is Blab? Sure, I'll come to Blab. And we got on the call and we're chit-chatting and talking, and all these people I don't know are popping up. And this guy comes on to the camera and he's patiently waiting while we're going, wow, this is a really cool platform. This is really neat. And so then finally, Erin says, oh, Sean, what do you do? And Sean goes, I made Blab. Now that woke me up. In all my years on Google+, Google never showed up to one of my Google+ Hangouts, right? I don't know who made Periscope, but here was somebody who was part of the team that created Blab in the chat, allowing us to ask him questions real time, very available. So instantly, that was such a big difference. On the other platform, I was talking to people who already knew me and talking at people who already knew me. And here I was talking with people who I knew and didn't know yet. And I was making friends and connecting with people. It was pretty badass.
Awesome. So yeah, you're kind of right. With Google Plus Hangouts, for instance, sometimes I have no idea who's there, who's watching, what's going on. So I'm just like, yeah, awesome. But at the same time, I was one of those types of like, I don't really want to be live. And I knew that a lot of people who come on hashtag MSHU night, they were like, is this being pre-recorded so I can make sure that if I don't like it, we can edit some things? Cool beans, awesome, cool, no problem. So there was like a little bit of a difference there where we don't have to necessarily broadcast that platform live. Whereas this one, I was on and I didn't even realize I was live because it said off the topic. So
off the record, like, okay.
Right. Yeah, off the record. Thank you.
That's okay.
Off the record. So I was like, oh, I guess off the record means it's not live yet. Until I was sitting there all on my phone and somebody was all like, and I'm giggling. They're like, LOL. And I'm like, oh, somebody's watching.
Well, yeah, you know how the platform works and you know what to look at. You know that the bubbles above Lynette's head there, those little circles with pictures, are the people that are live watching this as I speak. And once you know that, it kind of changes the game because you can tell that there's myself, there's Lynette, and there's two other people right this moment watching us live. And you can see as they come and go, you can hover over their little pictures, see a little bit about who they are. Follow them on Blab and follow them on Twitter, which is important, right? And you can also see the chat. But here's another feature that's kind of lovely. If someone were to join right now, they would see everything that's happening in the chat before they got here. And on Google Plus, that does not happen, right? The chat is only for the people who are live in the call. When you leave, sucks to be you. You don't get to know what was happening before or after you. And the chat isn't recorded. So later, when you have the video from Google Plus Hangouts over on YouTube, which is lovely, you don't see all of that wonderful conversation in the chat. And here you can watch it on the replay with Blab's free replay. And you can see everything that happened in the chat and continue to contribute to the conversation.
Awesome. And I did do a little reading about Blab before I hopped on. And what was awesome was the article that I did. They actually had a snapshot of you in it.
No way! I'm on too much.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you that link.
Yes.
And it said that when I'm done recording this, and I think this is important for those who are watching, who are trying to understand Blab, I can instantly, which is what I do with my videos, I can instantly upload it to YouTube, apparently.
Yes.
And I was like, winner.
As soon as this Blab is over, well, as soon as you shut off the recording and we go off air. Okay, so it's not as soon as you shut off the recording, because you can stay off the record live, but off the record, meaning you're not recording it anymore for as long as you like. Well, I guess for 4 hours. And then after we close it down and there's no more people in the hot seats, then it's closed. Within minutes, you're going to receive an email of the recorded portion. And that email is going to include the video, the MP3 recording, so you could put it on your podcast, and embed code. And also, if you go back to the same link that's in the URL right now, you'll be able to press a button and it'll upload it right over to YouTube, which is really spectacular. So all of those things that Blab is doing. The other thing that we have to kind of say is this is free. This is free. And they plan to keep it free because they have a backer that's hooking them up. And so they are not even talking about monetization yet, which is pretty amazing.
Awesome. That is pretty awesome. Because when platforms start getting, and I understand, I do, we all need to eat. We need to eat. We need to make money, and money helps us eat. So I get that. I dig that. However, when platforms start monetizing, that's when it gets kind of wonky for us. Not the platform itself is wonky, but it gets wonky for us as users because, well, they set us up to expect something and then they turned it around.
Right.
So,
right. That's definitely, I've heard a little scuttlebutt this week about Instagram and how they now have ads that are allowed to happen, which is changing what we expect from this pure Instagram. I'm not a hardcore Instagrammer. There's a lot of pictures of me at the beach or something. I don't really know how to use it as a business person. But yeah, there's a lot of scuttlebutt about that. And understandably, like you said, there has to be ways to make money, but it is really exciting to know that we don't have to worry about that right now with Blab, and that we've got a couple of years where we can just focus on this.
Awesome, Jonathan. You know, what's funny, I think my Instagram, somebody said something too, because my Instagram is all pictures of fortune cookies, like the fortunes out of the fortune cookies. Cute. And so somebody's like, boy, you sure love Chinese food. I'm like, the thing is, I just, don't really like to cook like that much. So I do a lot of takeout. But I'm getting better with that. It was funny as I love to eat, but that's besides the point. So let me ask you this, because we're talking about all these tools and we just got this awesome quick tutorial about Blab, and I hope that those who are watching, they're getting some good lessons here today, because heck, I didn't know half of the things that you were talking about. So I'm like, yes, I understand. So with all of these different social media platforms, it can be very overwhelming if you're a solopreneur, or I think they're calling us tiny business owners now. Instead of small business, we're tiny business owners.
Nobody's ever called me tiny, honey, but go on.
They, or let's be even more specific, coaches, speakers, authors, because that's who I majority network with as a virtual assistant. And we are bombarded with all these different platforms. And there's so many of them, but there's so many different tools out there to help us kind of keep them under the wraps. So what's one of your favorite social media tools to kind of help do all of this, plus still be brilliant and operate in your USP?
I love that you asked that question, because you're right. It's overwhelming and ridiculous. I have a lot of people going, no, I don't want to know about Blab. What the hell is that? Because not even looking at it, it's another social media platform to consider and think about. I hear you. I have tried to be the perfect everywhere, a little bit everywhere coach, and it doesn't really work. What you have to figure out is where as a thought leader, as a coach, as a solopreneur, where are you going to be able to highlight your talents best? For some people, for example, that's YouTube. That would not be me, just saying. But for some people, it's YouTube, because YouTube is polished video. You think of someone like Marie Forleo, who's kind of the gold standard of coaches and thought leaders when it comes to utilizing YouTube. And she has these slick, polished, highly produced videos that are fun and engaging and pretty much like watching TV. When I sit down and try to create a video, one, I don't have a whole team like she does. That's part of it. But when I do, I don't come off as authentic because I'm trying to be polished. I'm trying to be perfect. I'm trying to choose my words in sound bites and sound slick. And so when I watch my videos, I cringe because it's like a pod person of Coach Jennie over there kind of talking. And yes, I get my message through, but it's so much work. It's so painful, and there's so much perfectionism that goes into it. So know whether or not you are somebody who thrives on that polished thing or not. The other thing is, to answer your other question, the two platforms or the two social media channels that I give the most time and attention to is now Blab, because it is rocking my world. It is truly making me connect with people like Jonathan, who's here right now. I would not know without Blab, right? And the other one is Facebook groups. Thank you, Zucky, for Facebook groups. I so appreciate it. Facebook groups are such a wonderful place. I took down my Facebook page. I don't even have it because why? When a Facebook group allows me to bring everybody into one sandbox to play together, and anything that Lynette or Jonathan or anybody in my community posts in my Facebook group, only my Facebook group can see it. If they were to post on my page, their friends and family could see what they were saying. But there they have that private space. So the difference between a Facebook fan page and a group is a fan page is truly just that. It's like, hit this, say you like me, and I'm going to share a lot of information. And yes, you can talk in the thread, but it's kind of like you're a friend of my thought leadership, page. Right? Exactly. You're a friend of my fandom. You know what I mean? And so on Facebook, that shows up in your regular timeline, and that is available to all the people that follow you, that know you already. Whereas a Facebook group is one space that you opt into and you decide to be a part of, right? You can't send any ads from a Facebook group. Ads come from fan pages, right? But that Facebook group is a space where everything you say, if it's secret or private, you have choices there. Everything you say there stays in that group. So that's really powerful. I hope that, Lynette, am I describing the difference between Facebook fan page and group well enough to answer Jonathan's question, or do you have something to add?
I think so. I mean, the thing, I have seen people do ads on their Facebook page to try to get people into their group because they wanted to form more of a community. So, but in essence, you're correct. Like Facebook pages, you are more public. It's kind of like, it's now like a modern business card, right? It's kind of like something like when you go somewhere, it's like, oh, you know, what's your Facebook page? Because it's kind of there. But Facebook group to me is a place to form community. Some people do have good, you know, community around their page, but kind of like what you were saying, it's out, it's public, and there are some open groups, but I find that those open groups, most of the time, those are full of spammers. And most of the time, those are also the free ones. To me, the most valuable groups are the ones very much so like yours. And you have an amazing Facebook group. I definitely want you to go ahead and plug that too. You have an amazing Facebook group where that group is a place where people with like minds can gather together. They can form things. And let me backtrack a little bit. And it has a good moderator. That's what makes or breaks a group. Yes. You have a good moderator. You have somebody in there who's truly, genuinely caring about the community, caring about people getting together and getting along. That's kind of hard to do with a Facebook page. Facebook page, you try to block people or, you know, whatever. But people kind of have the expectation with a page that they're going to be marketed to. No matter how much we say that we're trying to put post out there that's about, you know, other things, And we will put other things out there. Like me personally, I put both mindset and marketing on my page. However, when I want to just get down and dirty, or I want to talk to somebody, or I want to collaborate with somebody, or I want to get to know somebody more, most of the time I meet them first and foremost in the group.
Well, here are the two reasons that those two platforms, Facebook groups, my Facebook group, the Audacity Lab, and Blab. Thank you for making them rhyme, Blab. That's awesome. I love that those two spaces, the reason those work for me and the reason I chose them isn't because I think on their own they are superior. Okay. And this is what I want all thought leaders and coaches to know. The reason that those are the best for me is because those are the places where I best demonstrate what it is I do. That's the key. If you can best demonstrate what you do in a flashy YouTube video, do that. If you can best demonstrate what you do in a Twitter chat, do that. If you can best demonstrate what you do in Instagram, do that. If you're a photographer, I'm betting you need to be on Instagram, right? This is what I'm thinking, right? Instagram and Pinterest are your babies. But Instagram and Pinterest for a life coach with ideas is kind of superfluous. It doesn't work for me. I've seen other coaches make those work really well. So that's the key. So in my Facebook group, in the Audacity Lab, I'm constantly, every single day, showing up, participating in the conversation, driving the conversation, but most importantly, demonstrating what I do, right? Every prompt is coming from a coaching session I've had. Every idea, every topic we talk about is me paying attention to what's on the minds of my clients and my friends and my colleagues and the people around me, right? And then what I'm doing with Blab is I'm bringing the best of that over here and having live conversations with it. I'm putting people in coaching hot seats. I'm highlighting my clients and colleagues and friends who I think are badass and giving them some platform. I'm cathartic shoving people to utilize Blab, mostly selfishly because I want to watch better stuff on Blab. That's all. But that's what it's about. I use those two platforms and I've selected them in a very strategic way because I know that they're the ones that work best for me. When I try other platforms like Periscope, I felt a ton of guilt, and I bet your clients feel this too, Lynette. You may feel this too. A ton of guilt about the fact that I didn't love it. Like I'm supposed to love it. Everybody's telling me I love it. Amanda loves it. Erin loves it. Everybody loves it. Why don't I love it? And I felt really bad. And then I did it 4 times and I was like, that's not really giving it a go. Like I should really try harder. And then finally, a colleague of mine, Erin, said, why? If you're killing it on Blab, why do you need to care about something else? And that really woke me up. So if you're killing it on a particular platform, own that platform, use it, show up daily, be consistent, turn up the volume, bring other people to it. Find a way to make that your own and let go of this expectation that is just unreal until you've got a 30-person company that you're going to be everywhere and rocking every platform. It's freaking impossible.
Yes, I'm with you. Amen. hashtag amen, amen. That's awesome. And you know what? The thing is, when I have clients or originally prospects, and then they become clients, but they come and they kind of ask, well, do I need to be on this? I'm like, you don't need to be anything other than who you are. Everything else is icing on the cake.
Yeah.
So
it's tough. You've got to pay attention to what is going on because you don't want to miss something. So Blab came on, Periscope came on, there'll be something else next Tuesday. And you want to pay attention to see what's happening because you never know what will be the next thing that's going to really highlight you. So that is important.
Yeah.
And prioritizing that, you have to fit into all the different priorities. But what you can't do is leave behind the things that are great, that are working. If I had said, oh my God, Blab is the greatest thing ever, and just ignored my Audacity Lab, there would have been mutiny. That would not have gone well. My Audacity Lab is something I've spent 2 years building, and I need to feed the lab daily, no matter what new thing has got my attention. So that's another tip for you, is you don't want to pick up something and drop everything. At the same time, when it's not working, let it go. So I was doing a podcast called Roller Derby for the Soul. I thought it was a really great name. I was really impressed. And I did it for a long time. I didn't love it, but I was getting a lot of really great interaction, a lot of downloads. Those downloads did not convert into Audacity Lab members. Blab, almost every time I'm on camera, converts to 1 or 2 new Audacity Lab members. Some of them are giving me props right now. These are people I have met here that I wouldn't know otherwise. So awesome. Drop the podcast, do this. So that's what you want to pay attention to.
That was such an important and great tip, because the thing is sometimes, especially, I was kind of having this conversation with somebody the other day who's an entrepreneur. We're so driven to innovate, to be leaders in our space. And sometimes it's hard for us to walk away from things because we think we have to do it, or it's like, oh no, I'm failing if I don't do this. And I think it's so important that, first of all, you understand where you're rocking it. And you're right, you do have to keep an eye on the trends. You do have to keep an eye on the trends, because otherwise, how will you know what's going to be the place where you're supposed to be shining and rocking it and illuminating the world with your USP, right? So, but, it's also true. It's like it's a fine thread and it's a balance that you have to kind of keep. Like, should I stay? Should I go? And that's something that you have to come to a conclusion about when you're doing this. Yeah. And I think
I was going to say, Shoshana Simpson, who's in the house here, she and I had a conversation a couple of weeks ago that was really profound, I thought, about how sometimes as solopreneurs, we start doing things because we have a plan and we're going to do this and we're going to do it consistently. But then we keep doing it for consistency's sake, right? Yeah. I'm going to keep doing my podcast because I said I would. Well, okay, there is something to the integrity of that, but there's also like, am I only doing this to stay consistent so I feel good about my consistency, but it's not actually doing anything for me aside of, making me feel good about my consistency. So if you consistently do the wrong things or you're doing things that are not yielding the results that you need, you got to pay attention to that and be okay with just letting things die like that. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with that. A lot of them do. I think the biggest one I hear in my coaching practice is my newsletter. Right? Oh, the flipping newsletter, yes. Right? I have to do it every week. I have to do it every month. I have to do it every 2 weeks. It has to look this way. It has to do that. Experiment with it. And when it's not working for you, do something different. But pay attention to why are you doing this? What is the goal? What is the purpose of this? And the purpose, again, I want to be really clear. Not everything I do is direct to money, right? I'm not always saying I want to do all these things because I have to get this money. What I also want to do is make sure that I'm investing this time so I engage more people, because that's what I'm about. And I think that's what most coaches are about too. It's not just about the bottom line. It's about helping as many humans as possible.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. And I love what Jonathan wrote here. Well, I've invested so much time and money and I just got to keep using it. And I have been there.
Me too. Me too. I think everybody has. I think everybody can relate to that. Shoshana's like, me three, I've spent all this time and money. I've decided I'm going to do this thing. I've put together my fabulous studio for my podcast or my YouTube videos or whatever. And I've spent all this time and money. Nobody comments, nobody cares, nobody joins, but darn it, I'm going to keep doing it until I get one more like or whatever. What do those things do? So yeah, it's a tricky one.
Yeah. Awesome. Now, oh my gosh, I have kept you way beyond my normal time.
It's okay, I could blab all day. That's why they call this blab, I'm telling you.
So everyone, I'm going to give you a heads up. We are about to wrap this up. So I would say if you're going to put some things out there, go ahead and do it now. Hopefully we gave you a great overview of using Blab. And I think Coach Jennie also gave, yes, thank you. I did ask you to kind of put that.
Let me tell you what the Audacity Lab is. So Audacity Lab is the League of Ambitious Badasses, because we have to use acronyms as coaches. It's a rule. So the League of Ambitious Badasses is a community of over 500 people now, which is kind of cool, all over the planet, who feel like they are meant to do something spectacular and they are not meant to do it alone. So they join the lab to be among other badasses. I like to think of our community, and they give me crap for this, but that's okay. I like to think of our community as like the land of misfit toys. Like we do not really belong together because we don't really belong anywhere. And somehow that makes us belong in the lab. But it's also a lab because it's a place of experimentation. I'm constantly experimenting. My clients are constantly experimenting. My future clients and my friends are constantly experimenting. And it's this wonderful place where you can get to know each other. Kina B's in here. She's another person on Blab who is part of the Audacity Lab, which is really cool. Great. Thanks for showing up right on time to make a good point. So every single person that is not a D-bag is welcome to the Audacity Lab.
Yeah. And guys, what's funny is actually Kina was my mentor and Coach Jennie obviously was also my coach. And I am in the Audacity Lab. And I am perfectly fine with being called a misfit because, well, on my Facebook, I put, go ahead and try to put me in a box. I promise I'm going to break free every time because you can't box me. I am, well, we were talking about this the other day. I define me, right? Yes. And you all define you as well.
Exactly. So unlike a lot of other groups, it's not a place of group think. There's very little of us all agreeing on everything. There's a lot of people that disagree with most of what I say that enjoy being part of the Audacity Lab. And I think that's really amazing. And that's why I want to always make that community something where it's a place where you can safely talk about what's really on your mind. But also, if you're there, I'm going to push you. I'm going to shove you. We're going to grow. And I don't do all the shoving anymore. When I started, it started as me shoving. Now you come on one of my blabs or you show up in the lab, it's not just me, it's the entire community. They are behind you, they are pushing you, they're expecting you to be your best. I know these are called props. I wish they were called shoves. That's all I'm saying. That's what they should be. Because that's kind of what it looks like. That's what a shove is.
Yeah. Awesome. So, oh gosh, can you leave us with one final takeaway, one good last wisdom nugget that we can put to immediate use as it relates to everything that we just went over?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I will. And I'm going to make it about Blab. If you are watching this, you think this is kind of cool, but it's intimidating, show up. Just come to Blab, participate in a few, hang out in the cheap seats, and then maybe get the guts to come on camera and join a discussion. You can come to one of my Blabs. I'm very friendly. I will help you, I promise. It is super fun. Just put yourself out there. There's a question over there. If you want to join the lab, just click that link and hit join, and I will add you when I get there. It's a request to join button. But yes, show up on Blab. That's all you have to do. Just show up. Pick a conversation that interests you. They don't have to be business conversations, though a lot of them are. I've met friends who I'm practicing my sign language with because Blab lets you practice sign language. So there's a million different things you could be talking about. And then if you are a thought leader, take the mic. Take the mic, show up here, start having discussions around what you do. Not just talking at people, but have discussions, invite people in, ask them if they think you can have too much confidence or you can never have too much confidence, and see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. And first of all, I'm like, when you said the whole sign language thing, I was like, wait a minute, let me make sure I'm doing this right. Is this thank you?
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Good job. That was great.
All right. I've actually tried to learn how to say thank you in quite a few languages.
Oh yeah.
So I think I know about 10, including sign language. So everyone, thank you so much for watching and tuning in. Like I said, this was the first time I did Marketing Superheroines and Superheroes Unite via Blab instead of Google Hangout. I am obviously going to upload this onto my YouTube channel, and I'll probably put a link there in this chat somewhere. But in the meantime, you can find the episodes. Let's see if I can type and talk at the same time.
Yes, it was great. She's doing a great job. You guys hit her with some props here. Let's hit her with some props. Let's get her to 300.
You can find the episodes. I'm like, did I do my website right? You can find episodes of this Marketing Superheroes and Superheroes Unite on my website. I think Vlogcast right at the top of my website. Not only can you find this one, but you can find all the previous episodes as well. I'm so glad that I got my shove from Coach Jennie and came on here and did this. And I am so very blessed and thankful for all of you for showing up. I was actually really, really nervous.
You nailed it. You didn't seem nervous at all. Good job. This was so great. And I'm so glad that you just put yourself out there and hit the record button and put it out. You can always delete it. You can always delete it and start again. But you totally nailed it. So, and look at all the love you're getting.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you from my heart to all of yours. Peace. Take care. And until the next time. Bye, everybody.